Thank you so much for joining us today. Donna is a licensed mental health counselor and a master certified addiction professional and has worked at Peace River Center for over 29 years. And during her tenure, Donna has served in many different capacities, including victim services, case management, children's services, and adult recovery services. So you name it, Donna has provided that service and worked with us. Donna currently holds the position of Director of Specialty Services at Peace River Center, and she's trained and certified in eye movement desensitization reprocessing, which is short for, or long for EMDR therapy. And that's an evidence-based form of treatment for complicated trauma and has been using this effective therapy technique since the mid-90s. And she's witnessed so many positive results from many clients, from small children to seniors. And Donna is also certified instructor for mental health first aid. Welcome, Donna, as our panelist.
Thank you.
And Tamara, I'm gonna ask Tamara to join us on screen as well. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and stop my video and I'm going to introduce Tamara. Tamara joined Peace River Center in 2017 as a case manager on the Children's Resiliency Team and is now PRC's Psychosocial Rehab Program Manager, where she works with individuals who are living with a severe mental health diagnosis. Through her work, she engages individuals in learning about their diagnoses and how to manage symptoms and take control of their health so they can live full, happy, healthy lives. And in her previous work, Tamara was a teacher, so I know that she can relate to a lot of you as you begin the new school year. So with that, I'll remind everyone of the just the housekeeping. Please make sure you use the Q&A. This is very engaging presentation, so if you have questions, want more in-depth information on any of these sections, please feel free to engage in the question and answer. So take it away, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this afternoon. Okay, coming. Okay. There we go. I know Ileana and Jessica have talked to some of the teachers before we set this presentation up and asked them, what are your fears and concerns about going back into the school system and the students returning to the school while we're in the midst of a pandemic? And so we got a lot of different responses, but mostly they are around the fear of the unknown. Which is everybody's fear in any situation, is not knowing what the future holds. That seems to be probably the most scariest part for any of us right now. And so, you know, we get a lot of information on the news and on the social media about what's happening in our world right now, but it's conflicting information. And we really, since this is the first time in our history we've experienced anything like this, we really don't know what the future holds, and that's the scariest part of all. We have a lot of questions about what if I get sick, or what if one of my students in my classroom come down with COVID. Every agency in every school, each individual school, should have some type of process in place of what would happen if you or one of your class mates come down with COVID. And make sure that you check with your individual schools on what that process is, but it certainly would involve some type of process put in place for informing those that may have had a possible exposure and what needs to happen in the event that you or one of your classmates do come down with COVID. But having a plan in place is what you need to focus on, focusing on the positive and the things that we can control. This pandemic, nobody asked for this to happen. This is something totally unexpected for everybody, and it's worldwide. We're all going through this at the same time. And so just having a plan in place of what we're going to do will help relieve some of those anxieties. For instance, what if the school closes again? There's a lot of talk right now about the possibility of another outbreak coming in the fall. Of course, that's not something that we really want to think about, but it's something that could happen. So as you're developing your curriculum for the week or for the month, just to go ahead and plan for how can I make this week's lesson plan work on an over the computer on a online basis as well as in person. And some of you may be returning back to school with blended classes where some of the individuals in your classroom may be participating over the computer while some of them may be in person. And so you may have to go ahead and make lesson plans that will work either way. So just keeping that in mind as you go forward and develop your lesson plans, to just have a backup plan. Always have a plan B ready so that in the event that you have to relate to it or go back to it, there won't be a surprise. You're already prepared. Another question that came up is regarding masks, especially with the younger children. How are you going to keep those masks on their faces? That's going to be a challenge, I can just imagine, especially for kindergartners, first graders, who are a little more of a challenge with following rules and learning how to acclimate to a classroom setting, especially in kindergarten. How are you going to make them stay socially distanced and keep their mask on? All children like competition. And so possibly setting up some type of competition. You could have the girls against the boys, or one half of the room against the other half of the room, and giving them some type of reward at the end of the day or at the end of the week for keeping their mask on and following the guidelines set up in place might go a long way with the children and helping keeping them to follow the rules and follow the guidelines set in place. Some are worried about not having enough cleaning supplies on hand. We work on very limited budgets. Even before COVID, teachers work with a very small budget and with a lot of budget cuts coming out with a lot of different needs across the state and across the nation. That could be a very valid concern of not having the equipment that you need. Our suggestion would be to get on Facebook, get with your church or any local clubs or organizations that you belong to, and just let them know what your needs are. Especially since COVID had started back in March, and people started experiencing this in neighborhoods and communities and worldwide. We're all in this at the same time. This is the first time that the whole world has been united with something in common. No matter your age, race, religion, what country you're from, we're all in this together. And there's been more of a sense of community, even in neighborhoods where neighbors are getting to know each other that didn't know each other before as they're walking around their neighborhood and saying hello to people that they come in contact with. Everyone wants to be able to help. And so reach out to those individuals that you might know through your church or through organizations that you belong to, or even on Facebook, putting out there what your needs are and accepting the help from other people and allowing them to take part in helping you meet those needs. Just remember that this pandemic is beyond our control, and that's a scary thing, but it's very important to stay positive and proactive and concentrate on the things that are within your control. And that's what today's presentation is really about. Some things that we can do to help control our own anxieties, and then in turn be able to help our students as much as we can, because children look to the adults around them, and even other adults. If you're around people that are negative, you're going to absorb their anxieties and fears also. So you want to concentrate on the positive and the things that you can control. So remember way back when we used to be able to travel? If you've ever been in an airplane, you've seen these instructions that they go before a flight takes off, when it's talking about those oxygen masks that will drop down from the ceiling there in the event of an emergency. And you always, they always let you know that you should put on your own oxygen mask before you help your children and put one on your child. And that's because if you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of those who are dependent upon you. So let's see what we can do to take care of ourselves. You know what you need to do to take care of yourself. We hear it over and over and over about eating healthy, exercising, doing mindfulness kinds of activities, and getting plenty of sleep. But they're hard to carry out and they're challenging for us. So we recommend that you look at these different ways of taking care of yourself and make a promise to yourself that you're going to select one of these activities here and follow it for the rest of the month of August. So pick one of those as a promise to yourself today. We challenge you to do that and decide that for the rest of the month of August, this is something that I'm going to make a priority in my life. This is a way that I'm going to take care of myself for the majority of the month. Eating healthy, taking time to exercise. And I see that Ileana has put up a poll here for you to pick one. I want you to commit to one of those things. Which one will you, what do you struggle with the most? And then think about two, which one will you commit to trying to improve for the rest of the month? So I'll give you a minute or two to fill that out. And then Ileana will give us the results to see what's the biggest struggle for those of you that are on the presentation today. Mine is a little bit of everything. Probably mine's exercise. And I've been trying to do that. My husband and I have been taking a walk, trying to take a walk when we get home from work each day. He works at home, and when I get home, with this rain, that's been difficult. But we can walk around our house. I have no excuse. Okay, it looks like exercise is what most of us struggle with. It's kind of hard right now with the rainy season to be able to follow through on that. So it looks like that's what is the biggest struggle for all of you out there. So I hope that you will join me in trying to make that your habit for the rest of this month. And remember, you are not alone in this. Our Peace River Center's crisis line is available 24 hours a day. We want you to take advantage of that if you need that. And remember, a crisis line is not just for individuals who are in the midst of a full-blown crisis. A crisis line is for emotional support and help and resources to avoid putting yourself in a situation where something becomes a crisis. So if you need to utilize that number, please feel free to do that. And don't forget that we have a crisis response, a mobile crisis response team. If you have a situation in your school or with your students where someone is really in the need of a help and you need someone to come and evaluate if further treatment or inpatient treatment might be needed, don't hesitate to call the mobile crisis response team that will come directly to your school and assist. So that's always available to you. So let's check in so far. Do we have any questions so far? Ileana or Jessica, have any questions come in?
I haven't received any, but if anyone has anything that they want to ask Donna, feel free to put it in the question and answer box. And you can do that as we go throughout the presentation as well.
Throughout the presentation, we've given some opportunities where I'll stop and check in, let anybody ask any questions that they might have or make any comments. If you have a comment, feel free to make a comment. And I'll wait for you, Jessica, to tell me when to move on.
I'm not seeing anything come in, so we'll dig in a little deeper.
Okay. So now we've talked a little bit about how you can take care of yourself as an adult. And this includes, when I say as an adult, that includes college age students out there too. So I encourage any college students that's on the presentation to select one of those areas that we just talked about of trying to improve your self-care. When it comes to children, not all children react to stress in the same way. And how they react to stress has a lot of factors involved in it. Things that may have happened to them in the past, their family environment. So it's very different from one family to the next. Their age, their life experience, and what they've learned has worked for them in the past. So that may be different from one child to the next. There's no one size fits all. So we're going to go through the different age groups, and I can give you some signs of possible distress that you might notice in children that you might want to look for in the classroom. And I see there's a poll up about what grade level you currently teach in, and that will help me be able to concentrate a little bit more on what I'm covering in today's presentation. But for kindergartners and first graders, some of the things that you might notice in this age group is children who are distressed and disturbed emotionally might revert back to behaviors that they have outgrown already, such as sucking their thumb. You might see some bathroom accidents, wetting their pants. And this might be a sign of distress, that they're not handling things as well as they could. You may see children who are clinging to their parents when their parents drop them off for school, or they're clinging to the teacher throughout the day and not really wanting to engage with the other kids. Another thing to look for, if they're having some difficulties at home, they don't totally understand what's going on with this pandemic when they're at that age. And so what they'll do is they'll take in everything that they hear, and then they fill in the blanks with their own perceptions that a lot of times are not correct, and catastrophize what could happen. And sometimes this may cause them to have nightmares at night as their fears grow, and they may be avoiding going to sleep at night for fear of having another nightmare. And if that's happening to them at home, what you'll see in the classroom is they'll be falling asleep during their school time. So if you notice a child that's sleeping a lot during the school time and can't seem to stay awake, maybe questioning that child a little further and trying to find out what it is happening that's bothering them, and giving them an opportunity to talk may help calm any fears that they may have or misinformation that they may have. When you start talking to them, you may notice that they have misinformation. So let's look at those poll results. So most of the individuals is pretty close from one to the other, but it seems like elementary and middle school are the
a lot of administration people too
and
here.
a lot of Okay, very good. So let's move on to the next grade up. So 2nd through 8th graders, they're a little bit more able to understand things that's going on around them. They understand what an illness is and how it can impact, and the importance of trying to take care of yourself. And they may have had somebody in their family or know somebody that did come down with COVID-19, and they're hearing all this scary stuff on the news and hearing adults talk about it and absorbing those fears and concerns of the adults around them. One thing that you'll see quite often in this age group is they develop a fear that it's going to happen again. What if it comes back again? You especially on the news, you hear about it coming back in the fall, and they can develop some fears around that and be afraid of what's going to happen in the future. What happens if my parents get sick? Who will take care of me? And again, giving them an opportunity to talk about their fears and what's happening, and correcting any misinformation will go a long way with this age group. The 9th to 12th graders, they certainly understand what a pandemic is and how it can affect people. This age group is probably the most affected of children as far as their daily lives have been concerned during this pandemic. They're missing out on sports, recitals, different student activities that they used to be involved in have suddenly come to a halt, and they have been not able to hang out with their friends like they used to be able to, and may not understand the full impact of not being able to do that, all the restrictions placed on them. They're very frustrated with everything that's going on. And so you may have to just reiterate the importance of social distancing and keeping their mask on, but not to just dismiss their fears and concerns about this, but listen to them. Everyone wants to feel heard. And even though the answer may still be, yes, you still have to social distance, yes, you still have to wear your mask, but relaying to them that you're listening to their frustrations and they're heard and they feel validated. Allow them to talk about what the pandemic has been like for them and be given the opportunity to voice how they feel about the situation. Some special considerations you might want to consider with students is if you have children that's in your classroom that have special needs, they may need some extra reassurance right now. They're looking at, again, at the adults around them, seeing their fears and concerns, and wondering what happens if my caregivers get sick and there's no one left to care for me. What's going to happen? And so they may need some extra attention, some extra reassurance during this time. From 1 year to the next, if you're returning back to the same school that you were in last year, probably you know which families were part of different service programs, such as the meal programs and that kind of thing. But one thing you need to keep in mind is that there may be families, there probably are going to be quite a few families that did not qualify in the past before last year for those special services that your school might offer, because they didn't meet the income qualifications. But a lot of things has changed for a lot of families over the last 5 months with the pandemic. There's been a lot of job loss and loss of income, and families that may not have qualified for assistance last year may now qualify for assistance, but these families may not know how to apply for those types of services and assistance because they've never had to utilize them in the past. So helping identify those families and helping those families link up to application process and how to access those services that your school may offer will go a long way. 211 through United Way of Florida is a good resource, and also the Polk County Unites, that's giving financial assistance to families, is another good resource. So you might want to check with your administrators. There's a lot of administrators on the call, so that's one thing that administrators can do as we go into this next school years, keeping that in mind, that you may need to educate teachers and families more on how to apply for any needed assistance. So we think a lot of times with the children, don't talk about things that's going to upset them. Don't talk about their fears and concerns around COVID-19, because that's just going to increase their anxiety. But just the opposite is true. The more they hold it in and hold it in and hold it in, the more the anxiety and fears grow and grow and grow until they just magnify. So you want to give them opportunities to talk about it, but you want to do it in a solution-focused kind of approach. And so as you ask them, what has it been like for you during this time? What's your biggest fears and concerns right now? But have a twist to it. What strengths did you use today? How did you get through that? Did anyone else use that to help them get through that strength? That's a great way to start or end your day, is what strengths have you used today to get through what needed to do today? To keep your mask on. What helped you today to remember how to do that? And so talking about that and giving them opportunities to release that is going to go a long way. One way that you can do that is incorporate discussions about the pandemic into your curriculum. I put a few things up here on this slide of just some suggestions, but I'm not the teacher, you're the teacher. I'm sure you can come up with many more ways that you can incorporate this. And some of the suggestions that I put up is social studies or history. If you're studying a particular historical person from the past, what about their leadership was a good characteristic or skill that they utilized back in history during their time? How can that be incorporated now? How can that skill be used today for what the world is going through in our current history to help in that situation? So you're giving them a task in their homework or their assignments where they're allowed to get it off their chest about the pandemic, but they're finding a solution. What strengths or leadership skills have been used in the past that we can use now with the history that we're in right now? With science, any scientific processes that you're studying, try to come up with something that's happening in the world today to be able to incorporate that into your assignment. My suggestion was, if you're studying inertia, study the inertia of the sneeze and why that's important then to wear your mask. And so you're incorporating that concept over and over again into your curriculum and your assignments that you're giving the children. For music, select songs that incorporate lyrics that talk about resilience and courage. They're going to need that a lot. They need as much positive as they can during the day for them to carry back home to their families at home. A lot of children come from very chaotic environments, and if they can take back that positive and resilient words from their teacher at school into their homes, that will go a long way. Art, you can create art about what the pandemic has been like for them. Help the children create pieces of artwork. Art therapy is big in my world, in the clinical services, and you can utilize that in a school setting very easily. So those are just some suggestions. So it's time to check back in. Do we have any additional questions or comments that you'd like to put out there? I welcome any feedback.
Seeing anything just yet, Donna?
Okay.
Don't be shy. We want to make sure that this session is really useful for you. So I know we're going to be digging into some of the different like breathing exercises and so forth soon, but we're here to answer any questions you have, or if there's a specific concern you have. There will also be an opportunity to email the ladies if you'd like to directly ask them later. Donna, I'm still not seeing anything, so you should be good to go.
It's Ileana here, but I just wondered too, when we were talking in general about exercising and eating healthy and such, is there any motivational things that you would say? Because I know we all say we're going to do it, we want to do it, but sometimes in the reality of the day, sometimes there's not enough time. Is there something that you would encourage them to say to themselves to make sure that they're making time for it, that you look for the time during the school day?
I put up little reminders of why that, that will motivate what my goal is for the week. I'll put up little reminders on my mirror, on my dashboard of my car, places around your workplace. I put them on the edge of my computer, of just reminding you through the day of what your goal is, because it is very difficult. It's difficult, of course, in the middle of a pandemic when the whole world has changed and your routines are not the same. It's also the rainy season here in our area, so it's real easy to use the rain as an excuse. But for exercising, I can just go in a circle around between my living room, kitchen, dining room, and TV room. I can just make a complete circle around. So just having those reminders throughout the day. Have an accountability partner. I do better when I have an accountability partner that's in it with me with my goals for exercising. Look, I'll ask you about it. If you know somebody that you're going to see at work that's going to ask you, hey, did you exercise yesterday? And I know I'm going to have to answer her. I'm more apt to do it because I don't want to tell her no, no, no each day, and her to, and her answer, well, I did. So it kind of motivates you to have a partner in your goals. As far as eating healthy, get your spouse or your children on board. Make it a family goal. That's another thing, just to hold each other accountable. I think that's what works best. For me, it's worked well for others that's been in therapy to have an accountability partner. So that's just one idea. I hope that helped.
I echo that, Donna. Accountability is so important. Wyma typed in our comments that she uses Just Dance for the kids, frequent brain breaks.
Yes, get the whole family involved. That can be funny. My grandchildren get a kick when they come over of putting on, we have the dance app or game or whatever it is on our TV. They like to pull that up and watch their grandparents try to do it. And they kind of like, joke around with us and make fun of us as watching our moves that they think are hilarious. So that could be something that you can get the whole family involved, up and moving. So that's
and this is just something for us. It's a lot about laughter too, but when it's appropriate, if you have older kids and you can watch some YouTube, there are some funny videos out there that are great for family after a stressful day, just to take a laugh. Sometimes we're so wrapped up in saying, oh, you're watching too much TV or whatever. But if that's how you relax as a family and you enjoy the laughter, Family Feud sometimes has some really hilarious YouTube videos out there and just other funny things. So just find a way, find something that y'all can all connect together at the end of the day to kind of decompress. If you find it harder and harder to get outside for that, even just that laughter as a family helps decompress all the anxiety and stress of the day.
And another thing is helping others is a nice way to feel better about yourself and what you're going through. There are so many nursing homes and group homes that have individuals that are still under stay at home. They're not allowed to leave. And so, this is 5 months in. So if you can find a home, just select one where your family can sit down together as a group and make cards and letters and send them in a big envelope and do that once a week. It makes you feel good as a family that you're contributing to your community and you're doing something to lift another person up. And it means so much to the residents at those homes. So that's another way that you can get your family involved and you can do something to lift your own spirits and do some good in the community at the same time. Okay. So here's a couple of coping skills before we get into the ones Tamara's going to demonstrate for you. But these are a couple of coping skill activities that are real simple to do and can be done from a sitting position. And for children, you can teach this to the children, and when they're feeling stressed, it's something that they can do without disturbing the kids around them in the classroom. But the first one's 5 things. It's naming 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, and you can just think of these in your head. You don't have to say them out loud. 2 things you like to eat, and 1 thing you like about yourself. So you're giving yourself a positive affirmation to lift your spirit, but that countdown with a little task that you're doing, counting down, is a very calming technique. You know how when you're stressed out and you count to 10 slowly, this is very similar to that, but you're adding, I like the way it ends. Name 1 thing you like about yourself. So you're building up self-esteem at the same time. So that's a really good one. The other one is starfish breathing, where you trace your fingers. And as you go up, you take a deep breath. And as you're coming down, you let the breath out. Take a deep breath in, let it out. In and out. In and out. And that's one that a child could hold their hand under the desk and just breathe, and it doesn't disturb the ones around them. Even the teacher can be doing that while the class is working on an assignment, and the classroom isn't even aware that you're doing it. But it helps bring that anxiety level down, that calming influence. So that's another good one. Tamara's going to be sharing some more. Oops. Sorry. So I'm going to turn this over to, did I skip one? Oh, so when should you use these exercises? Anytime you're feeling your anxiety level or fears go up. And again, you can do it at the beginning of your day as a teacher. You can do it at the end of your day to bring that anxiety and fear level down before releasing the children to go back home. So Tamara's going to demonstrate them. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Here's the ones that she's going to be going over. And I think, Eliana, did they not have a handout that they could also refer to?
At the end of the presentation, there will be an email that goes out with a link to all the resources. Yes.
So these are the ones that Tamara's going to go over. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can put Tamara up, and you can see Tamara as she demonstrates these different emotional regulation exercises that you can do as well as your students. Teach them to your students.
Thank you, Donna. I really love that starfish breathing one. That's great. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be with you today. And I just want you guys to know that I do use these actively in my psychosocial rehab group therapy sessions that I'm doing daily. And my clients just love these techniques, and they tell me all the time how much they really help them, and they'll tell me situations where they were able to use them outside of the group time. So that is what I want for you guys. I want you guys to be able to use these techniques not only for yourself, but for your students. And I know that it was already shared that it's great to use these techniques like as an opening to the day in the classroom, and I do that a lot. But also you can use it as a wrap up at the end. But then I also think that, you know, anytime that you as a teacher feel that you and or your students are just, you know, having some like anxiety or just some tension or worries about the pandemic, that, you know, you can use these anytime throughout the day. So I am going to teach and model these for you. So I hope you will join in with me. And once again, these techniques can be used with the whole class until I would recommend doing them enough to where the students are familiar with them, especially the younger ages, so that they will just, you know, have them in their toolbox and just can pull them out and use them not only at school and in the classroom with everyone else, but also when they're by themselves at home or with their friends or in any kind of a situation where they're feeling anxious or stressed. And it doesn't just have to be about the pandemic. Of course, that's, you know, the big stressor right now, but we want these techniques are great for anyone to use, not just if you have a mental illness, and for any time you're feeling anxious or stressed. Just, we know how important it is to do, like you guys were talking about, the exercising and the yoga and the breathing. We also do a lot of meditations. And then with my group therapy sessions. So that's another one that is great to use to calm and relax you. And you can also do the meditations with your whole class, and I bet they'd love it. Okay. So with that being said, the first one I have for you today is called acupuncture breathing. And this is another one that the students could use on their own underneath their desk, kind of like the starfish one. And this one, you're going to locate the muscle between your thumb and your index finger. And this is an acupuncture point. And you're going to take your thumb and index finger from your other hand and just rub in a circle. I hope you guys can see me okay. And you massage slowly and firmly. And also, if you try to breathe in rhythm with the massaging, in and out. This is a great relaxation tool to use. Another option to do, in addition to adding the breathing, is you can add a self-talk, positive affirmation. And of course, if it would be fun to do it out loud with the whole class for practice, but then, you know, the individual student could do it in their head as well, or the teacher. So just, Tamara, you are doing the best you can under the circumstances. Donna, you are doing an amazing job today. You know, just fill in your name and say the positive self-talk and have the students do that. I bet they would have a great time doing that. All right, the next technique is called heart math, compound word breathing. And this one, you're gonna focus on the middle of your chest and your heart, and you're gonna think of a positive, pleasant experience, its sensations, feelings, and the positive beliefs. For example, you're having a family get together and you're playing with all your cousins and having a great time. And then you can have the students even describe their pleasant, positive experience and how are you feeling now? What's the positive belief that you're having about yourself? And so get that thought and hold that in your mind. And then you're going to breathe in, breathing a little more deeply than normal. And then imagine the positive, pleasant feeling coming in through your heart. Okay, let's all practice. Okay, breathing in, did you think of that positive experience? Feel those pleasant feelings in your heart coming in through your chest. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to breathe out through the bottoms of your feet, letting the negative energy in your body flow into the earth. In other words, whatever the stressor that you're experiencing at the moment, you're just going to breathe that right on out through your feet into the ground. This is a very good grounding strategy, as well as relaxation. Anyways, let's do it one more time. We're gonna think of that positive, pleasant experience, breathing in and coming in through our chest and our heart. And then breathing out and letting the negative go through your body, through the bottoms of your feet into the earth. And then you're gonna have your students repeat that a few times until you're feeling better, you're feeling more calm, you're feeling relaxed. And then you can use this exercise, of course, anytime, every day, whenever you feel any tension. And I'm going to bring that back up in another technique. So hold on to that and don't forget about that technique. All right, the next one is one of our favorites, eye roll breathing. So in this, it's just a very simple breathing exercise. So you're going to hold out your hand and you're going to breathe in and go up. And breathe out and go down. Lower your hand. Practice along with me if you wish, and also make eye contact. Make sure you're watching your hand. One more time. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Okay, this is a great one. I love this. This also is very grounding activity and will help to calm very quickly. The next one is a variation of the eye roll breathing called the 4-point breathing. Essentially, we're doing the same thing, but we're adding in the 2 pauses, and then we're going to complete a square. So we're going to breathe in, then we're going to pause, then breathe out, and then pause to complete your square. So this is this is great for all ages, but I really know the kids will enjoy this. Okay, so let's practice one time. I know you guys are getting the hang of it. So hold your hand out and you're gonna breathe in through your nose. Then you're gonna pause, and then you're gonna out through your mouth. pause to complete the square, and do that as many times as is needed until you are feeling more calm or your students are feeling more calm. And once again, this is great to use anytime, not just at school or in the classroom, anytime you need it. Okay, and the last variation of the breathing that I'm gonna share with you is called circular breathing. This is one of my group's favorite ones. So you're going to do a circle, doesn't matter which direction you do it, clockwise, counterclockwise, but you're gonna breathe in for the first circle and then go backwards and breathe out. So let's practice this one together. So hold out your hand, and once again, don't forget to watch your hand and have the students watch their hand as they're breathing in. This is what helps calm. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna go breathe in through the nose. Out through the mouth one more time. Breathe in through the nose. Out through the mouth. And of course, you're going to do it more than 2 times just for time's sake. I'm going to just do it. So do we have any questions so far about the breathing activities? I'm going to bring that back in a few more.
I have a quick question, and maybe, I don't know if it would help anybody understand. Is there a connection between the breathing and watching the movement of your hand? Because, you know, anybody can breathe in, breathe out, but we're using our hands in motion. What is the connection between the breathing and the hand movement?
The connection is you're using both sides of your brain. If any of you guys are interested in the EMDR. So these are EMDR techniques that are used in therapy, but we've adapted them, you know, to simplify it. But the science behind EMDR is you're stimulating both sides of your brain, and that is helping you to process the upsetting thing that you're going through or that's on your mind. So yes, involving the hand, I hope I'm answering this well, but involving the hand is stimulating both sides of your brain, and also following your hand with your eyes. It's that eye movement that is so important with these techniques.
Okay, thank you. So that just basically causes you to think of something else other than the emotion that you're feeling with the anxiety. Right? It just kind of...
well, it helps you to process.
Right.
And be able to calm. So even though you're in the midst of something upsetting, you're able to calm. And then, yes, part of that is thinking of something, changing the negative thoughts and situation to a positive. So I'm going to be getting into some more techniques that focus more on that piece.
Okay, great. And I saw that Donna also posted in the chat that it's like what happens when you get REM sleep.
Yes,
Good.
Absolutely. That is the whole science behind the EMDR techniques in therapy. So, because when we go to sleep at night, we're in REM sleep, we're processing the events that have happened to us during the day. But a lot of times when we're going through something very upsetting, our brains get stuck. So for example, with the coronavirus, or like a serious car accident, sometimes our brains just get stuck and we're having trouble processing it. And that's what the stimulating both sides of your brain helps you to process it, so you're able to move on and be free of that, you know, the symptoms of that. Okay, next I was gonna move on to the butterfly hug breathing. This is really fun. I feel like all ages, but the younger kids are really gonna like this. So you're gonna lock your fingers and make butterflies, and then you're gonna put those onto your chest, make a butterfly body, and then you are going to press on the soft spots just below your collarbone. And want to do whatever feels comfortable to you. And then there's also, you can tap instead of massage. It's kind of up to you. There's variations. You can have the students try which one that they like. And another option is while you're doing this to bring back that heart math breathing that I told you I was going to come back to, and you're going to have them do the heart math breathing while they're in unison with this. So we breathe in, think of that in through your chest, the positive feelings and sensations, and breathe out through your feet, the negative, upsetting situation. Okay, so the butterfly hug has several more different variations, and this is one I use all the time with my groups to help process upsetting things, and it really works great. I get such positive feedback. So the next variation is called the butterfly hug. You're going to cross your arms, hands on your biceps, and you're going to give yourself a hug saying, Tamara, you deserve a hug today. Ileana, you deserve a hug today. And then you can massage your upper arms as you're saying these positive statements. And you can also tap as you're telling yourself the positive statements. So whichever one you can have, just experiment with it and see which one you like. Also, if the positive statement can also, you don't have to use it with the positive statement, but I just really like that. I think it's great to do that and have that positive thought. And then when you're tapping it in, you're processing it so that it's just, you know, it sticks with the students and they're going to remember it. And the next alteration or option for this one is to tap, or while you're tapping or massaging, you can also add the heart math breathing into that. So breathing in the positive and out the negative through your feet. So those are some different variations, and don't worry, you don't have to remember them all now. They're listed in the resource section at the end of the presentation. Okay, the next set of exercises are called basic brain gym exercises. And I use these to begin my groups. It is great for the interdependence between the brain and the body, and it energizes you, and it engages the right and left side of the brain. And it has an active part in calming your brain and prepare it to learn for the day. So that's why I love using these in first thing, beginning of my group sessions. So the first one, I'm going to go through most of these with you. But for time's sake, I might not do the last few, but they are also listed at the end. So first is brain buttons. You're going to take your thumb and forefinger, and you're going to put it by your collarbone and massage around your collarbone. So it's kind of like giving yourself a mini massage. And of course, remind your students while you're doing these exercises, make sure you're breathing in and out. Okay, the next one is called hookups. This one is rather fun. So I have them stretch out your arms and legs, everyone. Cross one arm over the other, and then you're going to grasp your hands together, cross one leg over the other as they're stretched, and then you're going to breathe in and curl to your chest. And breathing out as you uncurl. Breathing in and out. One more. I usually do that 3 times, and then we swap. So then they're going to cross the other arm and grasp their hands together and swap the legs, cross the one over the other, and curl in and out. So you get the idea on that one. Very energizing. Okay. And the next one is called cross crawls. And this one you're going to use one hand to tap the opposite knee or foot if you want to get creative. I tell them if you feel really flexible today, you can touch your foot instead of your knee. And this one, you take the right hand and you tap the left knee, the left hand and tap the right knee. And we just go back and forth. And sometimes we even do it like a waist twist. Kind of hard for me to demonstrate on the Zoom video, but it's basically you're crossing one arm over the other and touching the opposite knee or foot. So that one's, we have fun with that one. And the next one is, the kids are gonna love this one. It's called the elephant, and my adults love it too. So one arm by your ear, you're gonna start and you're going to take your right shoulder and go to your right ear. And then you're gonna hold out your arm, which is like your elephant trunk. And then you're gonna do the figure 8 out to your side, breathing in and out. In and out. We usually do it for 5 times. And then we shake it out, and then we do the opposite one. We take our left shoulder, go to our left ear, hold out our elephant arms, trunks, which I love this part, of course, and then do the figure 8 out to the side, big figure 8s, breathing in and out, and repeat 5 times. The next one is called Lazy 8. Lazy 8, you put your hand out with your thumb in the air. This one you're gonna do a mini figure 8. This is much smaller than the elephant. And the main, the important part of this is to follow your thumb with your eyes as you're doing a mini figure 8. And of course, you're also doing the breathing as well. So here we go, like, looks something like this. Just mini figure 8s. I hope you guys are doing these along with me. And this one is my favorite one for calming, because something about the eye movement and the mini figure 8s, it's very relaxing. I love this one. And the last of the brain gym I'm gonna demonstrate for you are called thinking caps. This one's super easy. Put on your thinking caps. You're gonna take your thumb and index finger and find the top of your earlobe, and you're gonna roll out the upper curl of your ear 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Then you're gonna switch. 1, 2, and 3. Simple, easy, and effective. And there are a few more, so I hope you'll check those out after the webinar. Okay. Any questions about the brain gym exercises?
We don't seem to have any questions right now.
Okay. Oh, and I see we are running short on time. I will try to do this quickly. The next activity is also an EMDR activity called developing a container. This one is really great. I feel like it would be good in the classroom to use in a small group or with a partner. Also, you can have the students draw pictures to go with this, write out the descriptions of the characteristics of the container. So you can, do whatever works for you as the teacher. Okay. So step 1, you're gonna have a strong container that can hold whatever you put in it. And it's a 2-way system that allows you to put things in and then take them out when you're ready or when you choose to do so. So this is great if something is really upsetting you. I know we're saying it's coronavirus, but it's upsetting to everybody. So when that's on your mind, put that in your container. When mom and dad had a fight at home, put that in your container. When you and your friend had an argument, you can put that in your container while you're upset about it. And then you take it out when you choose to. And usually what I find is when I put things in my container, because I use this too, it's a great resource, then when I think about it later on, it's not as upsetting. Okay, so, and also, so what you would say to your students is you're gonna create a container. It can be any size, any shape. It's great if it has like a lid or a lock or some way that you can make sure that whatever you put in there isn't gonna come out. And then you're gonna have them describe the container. A great way to do this is have them draw the container and then describe the characteristics. For example, okay, My container is like, when I did this activity, when I was first learning it, is a like a train car. So it's big and it's metal and it's strong and it has a door and it can be locked. And I decided it was maroon in color, maybe because that's my favorite color. And anyways, and then I'm going to get down to this in a minute, but I'll go ahead and tell you now. But you give your container a name, and that way that it will, you know, be able to stick with you and you'll be able to remember it. So we'll get back to that in a minute. So step 2, imagine using the container. You're going to tell your students that imagine how it feels knowing you can use your container to put things in until you're ready to work with them. You know, put them away, you know, so you don't have to be upset about them right now. You don't have to think about them right now. And then you can have them share in their small groups. I think that would work best. Since my therapy groups are small, we just share with my small group. Like breaking into groups of 4 would probably be great for this activity. And the next step is to give your container a name. So I was like, I have no idea what to name my container. It's maroon. Okay, I'll name it Maroon 5 after the group, singing group. So kind of silly, right? But, you know, it's easy to remember. So have them give their container a name, and they usually have a lot of fun coming up with the names. And then have them repeat the name of their container and the positive feelings that they get when they are putting things into the container. So I feel safe, I feel secure, I feel calm when I put things in my container. And then the next step, next you're going to tell them to think of a mildly disturbing experience. And then tell them to put it into their container. So next part after you create the container is you're actually going to practice using it. And ask them, what did you notice when you put the upsetting thing in your container? And they're going to tell you like how they feel, and they can also do this part in a small group. And then, so after you share that, and maybe some people want to share with the class or however you guys want to do that, the last step, I tell them this is their homework assignment is until we meet again, if you get upset, I want you to practice putting things that are upsetting in your container until you're ready to work with them. And also notice the positive feelings that you get after you put the upsetting things into your container. Okay. For time's sake, I know we're out of time, so there's one more I was going to do, the calm, secure, peaceful state. This is a really, really great one. So it's in our resource section. Make sure you check it out. And this is instead of saying our happy place, it's calm, secure, inner peaceful place or experience. And I'll just tell you real quick in a nutshell, because I think this is a fabulous one, is use this to calm down and relax when you're in an upsetting situation or have upsetting thoughts. So go to your calm, secure, inner peaceful place. And this is, I think, would be great for teachers if they get really stressed out during the day, and also for students while they're in school and something's on their mind, and as well as put it in their container, then they can also go to their calm, secure, peaceful place. So I think that's everything I was going to share with you. I'm sorry I didn't get to do step-by-step on the last technique, but please let us know if you have any questions or need additional support. Donna and I will be happy to answer your emails and questions, and call us. Our contact information is here for you, and I'm going to give it back to Ileana at this time.
Yes, thank you so much, Donna and Tamara, for joining us today and sharing all of this information. I know a lot of it may seem like you may know this information, but trying to utilize those coping skills when you're in the classroom, maybe dealing with that situation that you don't know how to react to, you'll have now some tools in your tool belt to get you through the day. And if you have any questions, Tamara and Donna are available. Their information is on the screen. After this presentation, you will receive an email with a survey. So please make sure that you provide some feedback for us to make these presentations better, and also know if there's other needs that you might have. We do have additional sessions coming up throughout the month of August, September, and October. And during this whole COVID pandemic, Peace River Center continues to remain operational, but we are doing most of our services via telehealth. So we are also following that with our community outreach. So this is part of our outreach efforts to provide our community with education regarding mental health services and some tools and tips for you. So please feel free to reach out to us, answer that survey so that we have input to make these better. And if you guys don't have any questions, we'll go ahead and move forward with logging off, and please feel free to contact us. And again, if you know someone who is dealing with some emotional distress, make sure that you share our crisis response information with them. We are open. It's a hotline, basically. You can call at any time that you feel emotional distress, and our counselors are there to walk you through your situation. So again, thank you all so much. I see that there's some chats going on. Is there anything else that we need to cover for closing out? Jessica, anything that you can think of that we haven't covered?
Just thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and special thank you to Tamara and Donna. All of our staff stay incredibly busy serving our community, so we're so thankful that they're able to share with the greater community as well, the larger community. Thank you, ladies.
I do want to make sure that I mention again, the resource page will have instructions on how to do all of the techniques that Tamara shared. The presentation is also available there, and the handouts, some handouts for you. So feel free to check that link out, check our website out for also many additional resources on how to deal with anxiety in children and yourself. So thank you all so much. I hope to hear back from you guys. Have a great day.